Welcome to the Invite Health podcast, where our degreed healthcare professionals are excited to offer you the most important health and wellness information you need to make informed choices about your health. You can learn more about the products discussed in each of these episodes and all that Invite Health has to offer at www.invitehealth.com/podcast. First-time customers can use promo code podcast at checkout for an additional 15% off your first purchase. Let's get started.
A cataract is a clouding of the lens in the eye, and this affects your vision. Now, most cataracts are related to aging. Cataracts become very common in much older people. Cataracts are painless, but they really do cause a vision problem. The cataract creates a cloudy area in the lens of your eye. This blocks light from getting to the retina properly, and it makes it difficult for you to see clearly. So at first, you may not notice that you're developing a cataract, and over time, stronger glasses and perhaps brighter light bulbs can help you see a bit better. But eventually, that's not going to work, because over time, the cataracts make your vision blurry, hazy. They even affect color. They become less colorful. So you start to have trouble reading, doing everyday chores and activities. Driving at night becomes a real burden because of the glare from oncoming headlights. The way the light is scattered by the cataract, forget it. Really hard to drive at night. So cataracts become common when you get older. In fact, more than half of all Americans currently have cataracts, or they've had surgery to get rid of their cataracts. Now, in time, if not taken care of, a cataract can cause blindness. Like I said, they often develop related to growing older, but they can develop in younger people also. So why would a cataract affect your vision in the first place? In a healthy eye, light enters through the crystalline lens and passes through to the retina. So the lens focuses that light into a sharp image on the retina. The retina relays the images through your optic nerve in the back of the eye right into your brain. So if the lens in front of your eye is cloudy from a cataract, I mean, it's kind of like using a camera with a smear of butter on the front of it, the image you see will be blurry. So other eye conditions, myopia, that's like nearsightedness, you could see nearby, but you can't see far away, cause blurry vision also, but cataracts produce some really distinctive signs and symptoms that we'll go into. So what causes a cataract and how do you prevent it? All this and more, including nutritional supplements, in my episode, How to Lower My Risk of Cataract. Hi, my name is Jerry Hickey. I'm a nutritional pharmacist. I'm also the senior scientific officer over here at Invite Health. I want to thank you for tuning in today to the Invite Health podcast. You can find all of our episodes for free wherever you listen to podcasts, or just visit invitehealth.com/podcast. We have over 400 up there now. Please subscribe and leave us a review. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Invite Health. The information on this episode is linked at the episode description. So let's get going here. So what exactly is happening in the eye that causes a cataract? Well, we're pretty much made out of protein. And the proteins in the eye are becoming misfolded. They're folding in on one another by what we call the Maillard reaction. You're caramelizing the proteins in your eyeball. Now, this is the incidence in 2010. This is the latest year that I have good data on. It's from the National Eye Institute. The risk of cataract increases with each decade of life, starting at around age 40. By age 75, half of white Americans have cataracts. By age 80, 70% of whites have cataracts. That's compared with 53% of black Americans and 61% of Hispanic Americans. So it's more common in white Americans. Among all people with cataract in the U.S., in 2010, the vast majority, 80%, were white, 8% were black, 7% were Hispanic, and 61% of Americans with cataract were women. By 2050, now this is also from the National Eye Institute, the number of people in the U.S. with cataract is expected to double from 24 million to about 50 million. The majority, white people. However, Hispanic Americans are expected to have the most rapid increase in prevalence from less than 2 million to almost 10 million. So what are the symptoms of a cataract? Well, one reason why whites would have cataracts more commonly is the red hair, the blonde hair, the blue eyes, the green eyes. That would be why. The freckly skin, all those things were involved. Cataract symptoms, blurry vision. So blurry vision at any distance is the most common symptom of cataracts. This could look like filmy, cloudy, even foggy. But glare is an early sign of a cataract. So you might become sensitive to light. You may have trouble seeing in bright sunlight. Indoor lights may seem too bright or have halos around them. Driving at night is affected. It becomes a problem because of the glare. This could even be streetlights, by the way, but the oncoming headlights can blind you, especially some of these cars today. They have those bright halogen lights and LED lights. They're just blinding. Sometimes you develop diplopia. That's double vision when you have a cataract. So that could be a symptom. Color changes, by the way. The cataract is growing over, it's a protein pigment growing over the eye, and it's caramelized. So you're kind of getting a yellowish tinge or even a brownish tinge to what you're looking at. So hues are fading. This is a paradox. They call it second sight. This is a cataract symptom that's a real paradox, second sight. Sometimes the cataract temporarily improves a person's ability to see close up. The cataract acts as a stronger lens. It's called second sight. People who once needed reading glasses find that they don't need them anymore. As the cataract worsens, by the way, this second sight goes away and vision gets terrible again. So another cataract symptom, if you find that your eyeglass prescriptions are changing frequently, or your contact lens prescription are changing frequently, this is because the pickling of the eye caused by the cataract is progressing. So it's getting worse. Now, what are risk factors for cataracts? Well, diabetes. I mean, most diabetics develop sorbitol-type cataracts. By the way, quercetin can help short-circuit that. Quercetin is a flavonoid you find in good foods like broccoli and spinach and onions and garlic and green tea and even some in cocoa. But you don't get that much. Like a good diet, 25 to 50 milligrams of quercetin. But if you're diabetic and you take quercetin 500 milligrams 2 or 3 times a day, it blocks that enzyme called aldose reductase, and you're not making the sorbitol baby cataracts in your eyeballs. Aging. I mean, come on. That's the major cause of cataract. Smoking. Lots of alcohol because it uses up your antioxidants. Eye injuries, getting poked in the eye. If you spend a lot of time suntanning or exposed to radiation, it damages the outside of the eye. There are drugs. Like if corticosteroids mimic the stress hormones we release from our adrenal glands. Our adrenal glands are these little triangular glands that sit atop each kidney. And they do a lot of things, but one of the things they do is when you're under stress, you release stress hormones and epinephrine. You release both. And the stress hormones affect your blood sugar, affect electrolytes, etc., and they lead to cataracts. There's also some evidence that NSAIDs increase the risk of cataracts, like Advil, Aleve, Celebrex, etc. This is very controversial, but I have to say it. I must mention it. Some studies say statins lead to cataracts. Now, some say yes, some say no. So here's a study. I mean, the best thing is educating people. This is the journal Atherosclerosis. It's from August 2016. It's the Department of Pharmacological and Biomolecular Sciences at the University of Milan. So it's a nested case control study on a cohort of 135,000 people up in Lombardy, Italy, treated with statins between 2005 and 2007. There was a slight but continuous trend towards an increased risk of a cataract in people who adhered to their statin therapy. It increased the risk of a cataract by about 20%. So according to the researchers in Italy, that was just one of the centers in Italy. There was a number of centers involved with this study. Statin therapy was associated with a modestly increased risk of developing cataracts and requiring cataract surgery. So let's be clear about that. It was the need for cataract surgery, not just developing a cataract, but requiring cataract surgery. So here's the second one. It's called ophthalmic epidemiology. It's the Department of Ophthalmology, the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota. I mean, come on, the Mayo Clinic. And they're looking at, if you use a statin, does it increase your need for cataract surgery? It's a case-controlled study. It was 2,557 statin users out of a much larger population. They had cataract surgery. And they found that the incidence of cataract surgery was really connected with statin use. That people who developed, they looked at people who had cataracts, and they found that the people who had cataracts and needed cataract surgery, many of them were on statins. And they found that there was a real connection there. Even looking at diabetes and how old these people were, and if they had heart disease and all these other conditions, if they were using steroids for asthma, it didn't matter. Consistently, there was a connection between requiring cataract surgery and being on a statin, like atorvastatin, simvastatin, or rosuvastatin. Didn't matter. Being on a statin was connected with needing cataract surgery. Now, here's the New York Times. This is an article in the New York Times, statins tied to cataract surgery. This is from September 25th, 2013. And one of the largest studies ever done on the subject, researchers have found that taking statins, the widely used cholesterol-lowering drugs, is associated with an increased risk for cataracts. Previous studies have had mixed results. That's true. Some studies show that statins are not involved with cataracts. Other studies show they are. So this is JAMA Ophthalmology. That's Journal of the American Medical Association. They looked at almost 14,000 statin users and almost 33,000 people who did not use a statin. They were part of the military healthcare system. And the average length of statin use in the study was about 2 years. Now, after adjusting for more than 36 other health and behavioral variables, things like diabetes and aging, they found that compared with non-users, those who took statins had a 9 to 27% increased risk for developing cataracts. And here's what they said, one of the researchers. If a patient takes this medication because he is at high risk for heart disease or already has heart disease, the proven benefits of statins is much greater than the suspected risk of cataracts. That's according to the senior author, Dr. Ishaq Mansi. Now, he's from the University of Texas. But there is a connection. There is a connection between statins and cataracts. Now, there is a plausible cause here. Statins deplete 3 nutrients needed for the eyeball. Statins seem to lower zinc levels a little bit, but they lower fish oil levels, very important for eye health, and they lower the level of lutein in the body. Lutein is a pigment, a carotenoid pigment that you would find in egg yolks, you would find in pistachio nuts, you would find in green leafy vegetables like spinach and broccoli. It's very important for eye health and also memory. And statins lower the amount of lutein in the body. Because when they lower LDL, one of the carriers that delivers lutein around the body is LDL cholesterol. So when they lower cholesterol and LDL cholesterol, they lower your lutein levels. Now, how are cataracts diagnosed? It's an eye exam. It's that simple. They use a slit lamp microscope to look for problems with the lens and other parts of the eyes. They dilate the pupil with drops to examine the back of the eye where the retina and the optic nerve lie. There is surgery for cataracts. If you have vision loss caused by cataracts that can't be corrected with glasses or contact lenses, they may need surgery to remove the cataracts. Now, in cataract surgery, the cloudy lens is removed, and then you replace it with an artificial crystalline lens. They do this on an outpatient basis, by the way. It's usually very safe. It really is very effective in improving vision with cataracts. Now, if you have a cataract in each eye, they don't do both eyes at once because you need to be able to walk around the house. They do one eye, and then later on they do the second eye. So how do you prevent a cataract? What do you do? What are the things you could do that can lower your risk of developing cataracts? Don't smoke. Always wear a hat and wear UV blocking sunglasses in the sun. If you have diabetes, you really have to keep it under control. And limit the amount of alcohol you drink. But take these supplements and eat these foods. a whole egg once in a while. Research shows that if you have one egg a day, it's very safe. It doesn't cause heart disease. So what's in an egg? Let's discuss that. Let's talk about an egg for a minute or so. The embryo is developing in the yolk, so the embryo has to breathe. So the eggshell has to be porous. Oxygen has to get through to reach the embryo. That means viruses can get through and microbes. So in the white of the egg, there's a lot of things that fight viruses, like lactoferrin and lactalbumin. So in the white of the egg, there's stuff that's good for your immune system during the winter when viruses are more dominant and more common. But then in the yolk, there's a lot of good things. In the yolk of the egg, you have riboflavin. Riboflavin is vitamin B2. You need it for the brain to create neurotransmitters so your brain works. You need it for vision. If you lack riboflavin, you could go blind. You need it to lower the risk of cancers like colon cancer. You need it for heart energy. You need it for a lot of things. There's riboflavin. There's protein. There's lutein and zeaxanthin. There's zinc. There's vitamin A. All of these are needed for eye health. You need lutein and you need zeaxanthin. These are pigments that sit in the middle of your eye and shield it from blue light because blue light can kill your eye cells and make you go blind. There's zinc. That's important. Lutein and zeaxanthin and zinc absorption decline with age, so eating an egg every day is further insurance that you're going to get adequate lutein, zeaxanthin, and zinc, not just for your eyeballs, but for your brain. There's vitamin A. Vitamin A is very important for creating rhodopsin, so you could see fine vision in the daytime and see well in low light, like at dusk and at night, or driving in the rain and snow, etc. Now, let's look at some supplement studies for your eyeball. Let's look at some supplement studies. In fact, you know what? We better split this into 2 episodes. I'm going to read you some studies on how to protect your eyes, especially with age, or if you have diabetes, or if you smoke, which you shouldn't. I want to thank you for tuning into the Invite Health podcast. Now, I'll finish this episode up. Well, I'll have a second episode for this podcast. You can find all of our episodes for free wherever you listen to podcasts or visit invitehealth.com/podcast. Please subscribe and leave us a review. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Invite Health. And I hope to see you, tomorrow or the next day when I do part 2 of this episode. And thank you so much for listening. And Jerry Hickey signing off.